There are so many events in my life that I don't know what news should I start this video with. From the work after leveling the land with a tractor, or from my new piece of land. Perhaps the work of a pile driver will be the first, as a continuation of video number 34, where you could see what work the tractor did and what my plot looked like immediately after the work. And then I will talk about expanding the area of my land property. I'm Valeria and this is the Off-Road Ranch. And don't ask me how I have time to do everything, because I don't have this time. And also don't think that everything is heavenly wonderful in my project. At least I'd like to remind you that it is already December and I have no home. So I cleared a piece of land from the trees. The tractor pulled out the roots and pulled the stones from the foundation to the surface of the ground. And now it's time to make the foundation of my future house. When purchasing the plot, I had restrictions on installing the house within a certain period of time. To my great joy, I managed to install the foundation in accordance with these restrictions, since I had been already contacted about fulfilling the terms of the contract. In one of the videos, I talked about what kind of mini house I'd like to buy, but the situation has changed slightly. I had questions with the project, with its approval, with the search for performers, and also I had a conversation with a person who helped me a lot financially with the purchase of a house. As a result, the design of the house changed, and accordingly, the design of the pile field also changed. These stages of construction became feasible only thanks to the financial help of my devoted subscriber. He donated me a huge amount in Monero and also lent me some amount under certain conditions for the return of this money until the end of next year. I am very grateful to him, and besides this, I am glad that together we are contributing to the development of this useful cryptocurrency, which all of us can use to create a new financial society without bureaucracy and corruption, with the real participation of every person involved in events. But let me tell you a little more about how the process of driving piles occurs, since in addition to what you see in the video, there are many details. The pile field is determined according to the design project, seismic resistance requirements for the building, the geological section, and bearing capacity of the soil. It is designed by an architect. The length of the pile is determined based on the soil, but as far as I know, most often it is from 3 to 6 meters, or from 11 to 20 feet. But it also depends on the depth of layer of soil or rock that can bear the weight of your building. In order to determine the length of the pile, geological exploration is necessary to study the composition of the soil. Of course, you can ask your neighbors about their experience of building a house, but your neighbors may not know this at all, or your land may turn out to be completely different. If georeconnaissance shows that there are moving soils, then the pile may generally go underground, that is, fail. If georeconnaissance shows rocky soil or some types of clay soil, then the pile may rest against the rocks and it will be impossible to drive it further. For example, in my case, it is rocky soil and sand. You saw what a huge amount of stones the tractor pulled out on an area of only 50 square meters. Therefore, some of my piles rest on the huge stones and are higher than the plant level. To make the pile a certain height, workers cut it down with a grinder. To mark the pile field, workers used colored beacons, orange pieces of reinforcement bar that showed where the piles should have been driven. Before driving, the reinforcement bar is pulled out. The driving of each pile is carefully adjusted to the zero level, horizontally using a laser and vertically using a level. Upon completion of all work, the pile field is measured diagonally with a laser. It is necessary that the laser hit the corner of the pile strictly vertically without deviation. Thin deviation means that the pile is not driven vertically. That is, it may not withstand the load of the house and break. The level of pile driven is determined based on the design of the site, based on their level, based on the level you plan to build a house at. If the piles are much higher than ground level, then you probably rely on adding soil. As a rule, the space between the house and the ground is later filled up. The number of piles depends on the area of the house, the load-bearing capacity, and the type of soil. Requirements for piles are also determined based on the soil, climate, operating conditions, and the building itself. All piles have production documents, which indicate manufacturer, the date of manufacturer, and class of concrete. This is how its strength is determined. At a distance of 9 meters, driving piles feels like an earthquake on a 4-point scale. I think that residents of Turkey or Iraq will especially understand me, since this year there was an active seismic zone there, and my friends talked about their feelings and fears. At a distance of 9 meters, the volume is about 70 decibels, and I've been listening to the sounds for 13 hours. Due to the piles being beaten, the water in the well began to bubble. The air in the well rises from the soil, bubbles form on the surface of the water, and the water surface trembles. While I was peering into the well, I noticed an unnatural movement of water there. I took a closer look and saw 4 snakes there. I decided to pull them out, since they got there by accident, since the well is not closed in any way, and they would have died. In the comments under previous videos, I was asked when I would clean the well. As it turned out, the well rings had burst, and it was very dangerous to go down, since the cracked rings could collapse and bury me under pieces of concrete. Its restoration and cleaning is an extremely controversial event, and it requires funds and special expensive devices to ensure the safety of descent, work, and ascent. Perhaps I will be able to do something with it someday. But now, this is clearly not a priority, since at night the temperature drops to +7 degrees Celsius. In addition, there is a lot of garbage there. The topic of garbage on my site has been long known to those who watched my earlier videos. Most likely, the old owners used it as a dump, so restoration and cleanup is impossible. We managed to pull out only 2 snakes out of 4. The remaining 2 sank to the bottom, and I never saw them again. So, ladies and gentlemen, I helped two snakes. I freed them from the dirty well in order for them to survive because they are not able to live in the well in dirty water. But as it turned out, I freed one more snake, and this snake is my golden earring. I had two of them for 10 years, I think, and I loved them a lot. And I found out that I lost it. And I've already spent some time trying to find it, but it is impossible to find small golden earring in grass, in thickets, in ground, and perhaps, probably, accidentally, I will find it out somehow. But now I don't have my golden earring. I am upset, a lot upset. I had them for 10 years and I love them so much. Moreover, I don't have any other earrings because I don't wear any jewelry. So I had to sacrifice to nature. Due to the incredibly difficult rocky soil, the work proceeded very slowly. The workers worked very carefully, and all work took several times longer than it could be. Each pile took 1.5 hours, a total of more than 80 hours. For similar work in simple soil, such an operation would take 4 hours. Despite all the accuracy, one pile broke in half. I had to urgently contact the designers and architects so that they could identify other more suitable places for driving piles. A pile driver worked hard today and did lots of job. It came approximately at 10 a.m. and finished approximately at 11 p.m. So it was working for 11 hours. It was pretty hard because of rocky terrain. Once again, my aurora light helped to light the area, the territory, in order to help workers. At 6-7 p.m. it is already dark and it's hard to see something. Of course, a pile driver has its own lights, but it's better to work when there is an additional light. One more time, I would like to say that this light is very good. But I use it seldom because, of course, for roads it is too bright. But for the forest, for lighting the territory, it's perfect. But of course, it is better to use not the car, but to have stable electricity, stable light. But I don't have such an opportunity now. Am I glad with the results of today's day? Yes and no. Yes, because I have piles. No, because, first of all, there are 11 piles out of 12. One pile broke. It is not visible. I will shoot it tomorrow. So, one pile broke because of rocky terrain, because of rocky formation. And we were lucky that only one pile has broken, because you could see that some piles didn't drive into the ground fully. So these workers will come tomorrow and they will continue their work. Another reason why I am dissatisfied with this day is that, as I already told, I lost my favorite golden earring that I have had for 12 years or even more, because I don't even remember, and it's such a pity, and I'm very upset. I was trying to find it till the sundown, but I haven't succeeded. Perhaps one day, during construction or after construction, I will find it. Wish me a good luck. After driving the piles, moisture insulation is necessary between the piles and the frame of the future house, because reinforced concrete piles are saturated with water by capillary method. Roofing felt is used for insulation. However, you cannot simply put a house on a pile. Workers drill holes in each pile to put on and secure a metal cap they will place the wooden base, the frame of the house, on. And now let's talk about my new piece of land. Since I cannot use that well on my property, I rented an additional 7,500 square meters, since there is a well there. I am kidding. The reason for leasing land is far from just the well. Firstly, back in my first videos, I said that to implement my plans, I need 40,000 square meters. In addition, in the video about choosing a plot, I said that there is free land next to my plot, and I would really like to purchase it. Finally, a year after I told about it, after huge expenses and further annual payments, I was able to rent 7,500 square meters. As a result, I have 10,000 square meters out of 40,000 square meters. At the moment, I need this area for 3 reasons. I need to store materials for the construction of a future mini house. I need to start planting a garden. And, as I said, I need to provide the future house with water, and I will take it from a well on the new land. Other solutions are very expensive, and there is no money for them. I will show you the well later, because the ground here is uneven, the grass is high, and there is garbage somewhere. And I am filming a video almost immediately after I arrived at the site after the burns, and it is difficult for me to go there. Even though I left the hospital a long time ago, I still have very strong pain, and it is very undesirable for me to get injured. The new rented plot borders my plot of 2,500 square meters. At this land, the fruit thickets occupy less area, but their total area is larger than the area of my entire previous purchased plot. There are also old good quality trees on the site, and depending on the future project, I will leave them or cut them down or sell them. There are also a lot of fruit trees and a lot of bushes, so I have the same work ahead of me as before, but I hope to get done faster. In winter, tall grass doesn't interfere, there are no insects, mosquitoes, waterflies, ticks, and the trunks are dry because the trees are dormant. Besides this, there are also beautiful and medicinal plants that can be used in different ways. But new tasks and problems arise, such as low temperatures, rains, frost, snow, lack of time, lack of money, building a house, and others. I need to draw up a design of what will be on the site, but all the other details will come later. As always, there is a lot of work to be done, both physical and mental. And in general, I have a lot of problems, and often I don't see solutions, and I get upset because of this. Perhaps I will talk more about it later. Albeit the price is very high, fortunately, I have enough strength and health to do what I love and go towards my dream. To create a beautiful the off-road range with bees, a lake, and a large garage for designing and building jeeps. I am very grateful to those of you who follow me, support me, leave comments and share opinion about my videos. Thank you. I'd like to fulfill my dream of 10,000 subscribers by the new year. But judging by the statistics, this dream will remain unrealized. Because despite my efforts, video promotion is practically impossible without paid advertising. This is a big barrier for those quality content creators who work independently, from scratch and without a sponsor. And that's the reason to watch my video about how much you, the viewer, influence the creator, the creation of content, and what you see on various platforms. Every person's support is very important, and I'm grateful to everyone who subscribes, comments, likes, and shares my videos with their friends. Write in the comments how much you think it costs to rent this piece of land. It was Valeria. Oh, and if you meet the golden snake earring I lost, tell it to come back home or return it yourself to me. It was Valeria, the off-road range. Wish you all the best and see you soon.